Right, so today we're going to be making something that is used by fish keepers all around the world, which is a spawning mop. You use a spawning mop to collect eggs from egg-laying fish, primarily like egg scatterers or like fish that like to place their eggs in something, but not per se lay them on like, you know, on a flat surface together, and you know, things like that. So you got to think with like rainbow fish, corridoras, different types of tetras, maybe even. You know, there's a lot of fish that will use a spawning mop. It can also be used as like a hiding place for fry. So say you want to breed some guppies or some platies or something like that, you can put some of these spawning mops right in the bottom of the tank, and that will create like a natural hiding place for them, for like the fry at least. And yeah, it can be used for that. I've seen people use these things for many things. But anyway, I'm going to be telling you how to build one of these. Now, there's a lot of videos on YouTube already about how to make one of these. It's really not that difficult, but I thought I'd do one of these videos as well and give my own spin on it. So what we're going to be using is some of this stuff. This is acrylic yarn, actually 100% premium acrylic anti-piling yarn. So yeah, that's what it is. There's some things here that I don't know if that's useful information or not, but you can have a look at that and maybe pause the screen if you want. But that's what it is. It is, yeah, it's green, and I choose green because green's the most natural. It looks the best in my opinion. Now the nice thing about acrylic yarn is that say one of these get dirty, you can like boil them, you can clean them, do whatever you want with them, and they'll be coming out as new. But of course also because this stuff is not really expensive, you can make a new one when one is like kind of broken or whatever. But yeah, it's really simple. So what you're gonna need is of course your yarn. You wanna use, you need some kind of scissors of course to cut it. Then you also want a kind of template. It can be anything. It can be like a notebook, it can be a piece of cardboard. I've got just this piece of plexiglass here. It's kind of the size that I want it to be. Now you want something, of course, that you want the size of the mop to be. So I think this is about right. It's not as big as an A4, but nearing that size. And I think this is nice for my tanks, you know, it'll fit nicely. Of course, it's a bit of a trial and error thingy, like if you think it doesn't or isn't big enough, then you use something bigger. But simply what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to spin the camera down because otherwise you're not going to be able to see what I do. Yeah, let me spin the camera down and then you can see. Right, so as you can see, we've got our little workstation here. It's just a little stool. What we're going to do is take our yarn and we're going to start somewhere at the top, of course, and try to do this without breaking anything. I don't know if we can. Right, take that off. So what we're going to do is simply just start at like the top, like so. And then what you're going to be doing is just wrap this yarn around about a bazillion times. I'm not kidding you. You can literally wrap this thing around a lot of times until you think it's like thick enough. Now keep in mind you're going to cut this in half. But yeah, you're just going to wrap this thing around quite a few times. You don't want to skimp on this, I would say, because the fuller the mop, the nicer it is, really. I mean, it depends what you want to use it for. So it is adjustable to what you need, which is good because, you know, it's not like a one size fits all type deal. Anyway, I'm just going to keep spinning this around. Alright, I think I'm kind of happy with how this is. You can see this is quite thick. Or at least, yeah, it's quite decent. Maybe we'll do one more spin, something like that. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. So what we're going to be doing now is cutting this end off to the same length, or try to do the same length, maybe do it a bit shorter. There we go. Now what we want to do is cut a piece of yarn, just a small piece, around about, this is good, you can cut off the excess of course, and then you're just going to go through to the top part where you started, and yeah, you're going to go through like underneath, and then just put your yarn underneath, take it to the top, and then you want to tie a knot so that it's like, you know, you close it up. And the way you do this is just by tying a knot, not very difficult of course. just like so. Make it a double knot, of course, because otherwise it won't really stick. So I'm just gonna do that like so. And then you can see we've got a double knot. You can even make it a triple. Hey, go for a triple if you want to make sure it's like secure and in place. Then you can either cut this excess off or leave it, because it might be useful in the next step. Because the next step is, well, actually the step after that. But the next step is to cut. So what you want to do is take the other end where you haven't tied the little thing around, and you simply want to go and give this a nice cut. Now, sometimes you even want to take this off your thing, because if you've done it too tight like I have, it's going to be quite difficult. But you're just going to go like so, give it a nice old cut, as straight as you can, and there we go. We have created a spawning mop. Now, we're not fully done here yet. To be honest, it could have been a bit thicker. So you see, it is a trial and error, because like I would have liked it to be a bit thicker, so you just do more, you know, wraps around. But yeah, this is the end result. Now, like I said, we're not done yet, because now we just have the mop, which that is what we want, of course. But what most people do is they take some kind of cork or some kind of floating device, something that will float. And what they'll do is they'll position it here, then wrap it around, put a piece of yarn around it, and then you'll have a mop that floats. That can be useful in some instances. In other instances, you might want it to sink. So for example, when you know, using it with like guppies and platies, and you want this to be like a hiding place, then you want it to sink, of course, so you wouldn't put something floating on. Maybe you put a rock on so it sinks, because as it stands now, usually when you put it in a tank, let's put it in this tank for example, it usually does float just by itself, but you have to get it soaked in order for it to sink, and it will sink. You just have to give it some time. But as you can see, it is still floating. Let's give this a few seconds and see if it will sink. Right, so you might be able to see, you really have to like squeeze the air out for it to sink. So yeah, like I said, that can take a while, but you can see now it is sinking to the bottom, and you can even put a rock on it if you want it to sink, of course. But yeah, that's basically how you make a spawning mop. Really not too difficult. And you know, the use cases for this, like I said in the beginning of the video, you would use these for fish that lay eggs, of course, but also live bears, like I just, you know, told you. But yeah, like fish like rainbow fish and like, I don't know, rice fish, and like all kinds of fish will use this, to be honest. And I think it's a great thing that every fish keeper should be able to have in their fish room, or at least know how to make one. Now, I'll probably just continue making a bunch of these. You know, you can have about 10 of these if you want, because then I can have them in rotation. What I'll likely do is I have some rainbows down here. I'll plop this in with the rainbows. They'll lay their eggs, and usually the eggs are either transparent or like, you'll see them as little dots in the spawning mop. Then what you can do is take the spawning mop out. You can take individual eggs out, or you could just take the whole mop, you know, and then throw it in a tank that I have over here, let the eggs hatch out, and then raise the fry. So you could have these on rotation. So say I would put one in now, take it out the next day, then put another one in, and then take that one out, but then continuously put those in a tank where they're going to hatch out, and do that for like a week, and you'll have hundreds of fry. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be making a couple of these, and I'll see if I want them floating or sinking, and yeah, I'll have a little fiddle around. You can, of course, also with the little strands that you had, you can tie them to something and then make them float that way. Yeah, there's many ways to use this. But anyway, guys, I think I've shown you enough ways in which you can utilize this. I've shown you how to make it. I hope it was helpful in some way, shape or form. If it was, don't forget to drop a like down below. Also get subscribed to the channel if you're new here. And also leave a comment down below if you already have mops like this. Probably if you're watching this video, you don't know how to make them yet, because why would you otherwise be watching this video? I guess if you just want to help support me by watching the videos, then that's great, and I really appreciate you. If you further want to support the channel, you can also become a member. The link is down below for that, where you basically have some perks and different things, behind the scenes content, and you just pay, well, there's different levels of course, but you pay a monthly fee, and that really helps the channel and supports me in what I do. Also, don't forget to check out our channel sponsor, King's Aquariums and Antworld. Their links are all down below. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Watch this playlist here for all different types of fish to breed. You might see some new fish that you wanted to breed and you didn't know how. Well, there's a playlist here. Go have a look through there, watch a video or two, give a like and things like that, of course. But anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.